Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where in today's episode, we will discuss the differing opinions from the critics to the fans for The Rise of Skywalker. Then, we will also travel back and view the previous releases of The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens to view the clashing perspectives there. And finally, we will wrap it all up as I'll reveal which one of these scores should matter most. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee.
I have spoken.
Hello there to all of the returning subscribers, but if you're new to the channel and you're just finding me for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video and any other video from the channel that you check out, and be sure to hit that notification bell so that the bell is completely filled in, as this is the way you will never miss a new video the second it goes live.
Do it!
The Rise of Skywalker officially debuts today here in the United States, but it has also already been available to others in other parts of the world, where we see the reviews pouring in from the critics and the fans coming in this morning, with the critics score sitting at a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes as of the making of this video. It started at 59 a couple of days ago and has slowly been going between 57 and 59%, with the audience score coming in at an 86%. So we have a difference of opinion here between the critics and the fans. So what I'd like to start by doing is going back through this trilogy and discussing the differences of opinion between the fans and the critics for the sequel trilogy saga, starting with Episode 7, The Force Awakens. The critics' consensus of The Force Awakens, according to Rotten Tomatoes, is as follows, quote, "Packed with action and populated by both familiar faces and fresh blood, The Force Awakens successfully recalls the series' former glory while injecting it with a renewed energy." The Tomato Meter total count of 425 reviews gave it a certified fresh rating of 93%, with the audience score, user ratings of 231,969, with the audience score being 86%. So this is the only movie in this sequel trilogy that you're going to find the close relationship between the critics and the fans. Part of that, I believe, is due to the hype that we were getting a new Star Wars movie in the first place that was going to feature all three members of the original Big Three, as well as bringing in the new fresh-faced characters that would continue to hold the trilogy past this first film, with the handing of the baton from the original trilogy to the sequel trilogy characters. Not only does this build off of this nostalgia from the 40 plus years ago of the original trilogy, where we had that break for many years before we got the prequel trilogy, and now we're continuing the story. So I think part of that reason that we went back to cover the beginning of the story for the Skywalker saga, now going back to continue it after Episode 6, which originally finished in 1983, is part of the reason that this was such a close relationship between these two films. I remember going to see The Force Awakens and I was very excited for it. I really enjoyed that film. So I would agree that the dichotomy between these two are 93 and 86 makes perfect sense. However, when we go forward to the second film, again, The Force Awakens was a J.J. Abrams film, much like The Rise of Skywalker. We continue to go down the path of the sequel trilogy to find ourselves at the second film, the second act of the three-part act, if you will, and we have Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, which critics' consensus is as follows, quote, "Star Wars The Last Jedi honors the saga's rich legacy while adding some surprising twists and delivering all the emotion-rich action fans could hope for." The Tomato Meter of a total of 456 reviews got a 91 certified fresh, along with the audience score of a user ratings of 214,279 only gave it an abysmal 43%. The difference here is obviously the fact that fans did not care for this and it was praised by critics. Part of the reason I think this was, and this is going to sound very interesting considering the fact that a lot of the criticism currently about The Last Jedi, or rather The Rise of Skywalker, is that there's no surprising twists and that it was too predictable. Yet when that happened in The Last Jedi, it didn't sit well with fans. But now that The Rise of Skywalker is out, fans are complaining that there wasn't enough twists. So clearly there is no happy medium that Disney has been able to find to strike a good balance, if you will, between fans who wanted an expecting twist and fans who just wanted them to play it safe and continue to tell the story in a more predictable way to end the Skywalker saga. The interesting thing about The Last Jedi is that while many fans were doing their rewatching in preparation for The Rise of Skywalker, a majority of them skipped over the Canto Bight scenes for The Last Jedi, as that really had no point, served no purpose in The Last Jedi, considering Admiral Holdo decided to just lightspeed through the ship and save the day that way, making the whole Canto Bight portion of the film completely useless and unnecessary. Yet we move forward to The Rise of Skywalker, where the critics' consensus is as follows. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker suffers from a frustrating lack of imagination, but concludes this beloved saga with fan-focused devotion. Tomato meter, 310 reviews, 57% certified rotten, with the audience score of a current verified ratings of 10,049, gave it an 86%. The audience score has been hovering between 88 and 86% thus far, with the tomato meter again from 56 to 59%. And what you'll notice here is interesting, especially in the critics' consensus. We see The Rise of Skywalker suffers from a frustrating lack of imagination, where we have The Last Jedi honors while adding some surprising twists. So clearly, you can't win for losing. You play it safe, you get pummeled. You do some surprising twists, you get pummeled. You're going to get either pummeled by the fans in the case of The Last Jedi by throwing all of those twists in, and then you're going to get pummeled by the critics if you play it safe with a lack of imagination, according to them. While focusing on fan-focused devotion clearly earns you a better score than the abysmal 43% that The Last Jedi received with all of the twists, critics are not happy about the lack of surprises in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, which one of these actually matters? Here's a hint. It's neither of these. So what does that leave us with? That leaves us with simply your opinion. Your opinion of the film should not be based on the critics certifying it fresh or rotten, or whether any other random audience member rates it 43% or whether it rates it an 86%. The key portion to note here is if you're a member who liked the film, you're going to be able to find anybody who doesn't like the film online, as they will be more likely to voice their dislike for this film because they will have a reason to go online and talk about it. Whereas if you go find somebody who liked the film, they're likely just going to give whatever video you're watching or discussion a like, read some of the comments, and move on, rather than having to voice their opinion, because they're likely going to agree with whoever is talking if they enjoyed the film. So let me tell you this, that if you're somebody who enjoyed the film and is really upset with everybody who doesn't like the film and is voicing their strong discontent with the film, just know that they are currently in the 14% minority of people who didn't like the film. Whereas if you went to The Last Jedi, you would likely find that a majority of people agreed with you and didn't care for the film, with a 47% who are likely in the same boat as you were. However, critics' consensus doesn't matter, the audience score doesn't matter. I just feel like it's important to revisit this to keep in mind that your judgment of The Rise of Skywalker shouldn't matter with the critics or fellow audience members. As long as you can go into the film with an open mind, with your expectations of what you want, as long as they meet those, don't listen to what the critics say or the audience score and let it impact the way you feel about the film. I know it's a complicated thing to do, given the sense that we have so much media today in literally the palm of our hands and on our wrists at all times. Always gathering information on something, always looking at something. So you're going to be getting more information on The Rise of Skywalker than you likely were in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, as this is the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, so there's going to be much more tension surrounding this than there will be any other film this year or possibly next year or any other time that I've seen. The Rise of Skywalker is getting so much attention, and I would expect by the all things said and done that this is going to be staying certified rotten under 60%, with the audience score continuing to hover in the high 80s. But just know that as long as you enjoyed the film, or whether you didn't enjoy the film, what everybody else says shouldn't matter, and the only opinion that should actually matter is yours. Alright, we're going to wrap things up for this video by going over one last time our journey for the sequel trilogy with the critics and the fans' audience score. The Force Awakens, certified fresh 93%, audience score 86%. The Last Jedi, certified fresh 91%, audience score 43%. and The Rise of Skywalker, Rotten 57%, audience score 86%. So keep that in mind as you go to watch this film tonight if you weren't one of the early viewers for the Thursday night. The film's going to be released. Go in with an open mind, make your decision based on what your assessment of the movie is and not anyone else's. Alright, thank you guys for watching, may God bless you and the Force be with you.
But they're more than fans, they feel like family. So I hope they enjoy it, and if they don't, just keep it to yourself.
If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.